Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video impromptu, just something that I feel and share it with you guys. Unedited, just from my heart to yours, something that I'm thinking about and feeling, and it's important for me to share. I think there are different types of wisdom. I think there's academic wisdom, you read books, you read studies, and you pursue theories, and then you try to take the theories and look at the real world and see how they match up to the real world, and you observe your findings, and there's the scientific method, right? When companies do X, they make more money than if they do Y, and this has been observed in many places. Or when people with trauma do X, it's usually more helpful to their recovery than if they do Y. Okay, great. So that's academic knowledge. There's also something called street knowledge or experiential knowledge. And experiential knowledge is I've never learned the theories about it, I've never done studies on it, I've never read a meta analysis on it, but I've lived it. I've done it with my hands, I've done it with my arms and legs. So, for example, you can read a book about swimming, and you can read every study ever done about swimming and the best way to swim that's the most effective and the best way to hold your breath underwater, etc. You can learn about how to treat the pool with the right chemicals and the most perfect way of going like this in the water and swimming. And you'll still have no experiential knowledge until you go in a pool and you try to swim. And now what you're doing is you're taking your experience and you're creating your academic learning into applied real life learning. You're converting your book knowledge into real world knowledge, right? Because you read these books about swimming, but you never were in a pool. And you don't know what it feels like and what it smells like, etc. You don't know what it's like to go in the locker room and get undressed, and there's other strangers there, and to pay for the membership, and it's too much money, and it's not enough money, and there's too much chlorine, and there's not enough chlorine, and too many people are watching you, and it's uncomfortable, or there's no one else around, and it's boring, or whatever the factors are in swimming, okay? Until you have experiential knowledge, you're limited in your knowledge. Do you have nothing? I'm not going to say you have nothing, but you're limited. The same thing is true if you have experiential knowledge, but you don't have professional academic knowledge. What happens is you don't have categories and words to describe things and theories to encapsulate what you're doing and what you're thinking and what's happening in front of you. And now you can't communicate it well to other people, and now it's harder to solve. It's harder to put in a basket and explain to yourself and replicate. There's a lot of problems with that, right? And so you could know how you swim. Okay, I used to go bowling a lot when I was a kid. I used to like bowling. We used to go with all the guys. We'd have a lot of great fun. There was a bowling alley near my house. I know instinctively how I throw. I'm a lefty. How I throw the ball. I have a certain I kind of let the ball kind of touch the ground and kind of drag the ball for a second on the floor and let it roll, and it picks up momentum, and it's kind of like a guided missile, and it's not the fastest throw, but it's more kind of controlled to the middle, and I can get strikes and spares, right? But because I'm not a professional and I don't understand exactly what I'm doing, and I don't understand how many options there are and why I should choose this one over another one, I never had anyone teach me. I never had anyone perfect my form. Maybe if I wore different shoes, it would be different. Maybe if I throw with a certain twist, it'll be different. Or if I throw quicker, it'll be better. Or if I throw even slower, it'll be better. I don't even know. And so I have experiential knowledge from my own experience, but I don't know enough of the professional categories and collective experiences of other people in the world, in the laboratory and in the outside world, to compare and contrast my experience to theirs. And so now I'm going to give a class on bowling, and I know how I bowl, but who says that's good for you, for your height and for your weight and for the length of your arm? And so the idea is book knowledge is important and street knowledge is important, and together they're even more important, and they work together and complement one another. Why am I talking about this? Because I hate politics, okay? I hate getting into current affairs if I don't have to, because I like working on the micro level with an individual. Because I think that the easiest, quickest way to change this world is for us to work on ourselves. I don't care what person you vote for, and I don't care what side of a conflict you're on. I know that if you're working on yourself and you believe in truth and try to pursue truth and you make that a real value, then you're much more likely to wind up in a good place for everyone involved. And if not, then not. So I like to talk to individuals. My channel is almost always about individuals. And I know that when we learn and educate ourselves from books and from experts and classes, workshops, then we get smarter. When we read books, we get smarter. When we get hands-on practical experience, we get smarter. When we do both, we get even more smarter. And what really bothers me is when I'm surrounded by controversy and debate and moral dilemma, and there's YouTube videos flying and famous people giving their opinions, and I don't have a problem with anybody in the world giving their opinion on anything. And it says in Ethics of the Fathers and Pirkei Avos, it says an ancient quote from the time of the Tanaim. So we're going back 2,000 years. There's a quote that who is wise? A wise person is somebody who learns from everybody. Okay? So I'm willing to learn from everybody. And if you have an opinion, I'll consider it. Okay? You're a fool if you don't listen to everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a teenager. I don't care if you're a housewife or a microbiologist researcher. If you talk, I'll listen. And I'll try to listen as if there's something you have to say that I don't know. And through that, I might learn something new. Now, I may be an expert in that topic. And after hearing you and giving you the chance of communicating, I might still decide that I don't agree with what you said. That's okay. And it's a free world. We could disagree. We have freedom of speech, so we can communicate together different ideas. We can talk and converse. We can hash things out. We'll only both get smarter if we're both willing to listen to the other person, give them a chance, and have the willing to be influenced by the person in front of us. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're a lesbian, Muslim. I don't care if they're Jewish or not Jewish. I'll listen to them. That's the only way we get smarter, is we listen to people different than us. We consider what they say. And then after that, we compare it to what we know experientially and from the books, and then reach a conclusion that it is or isn't worth it to go with what they said. We sum it up and we say, it is a good idea to change my views. It isn't a good idea. Maybe I should change one of my views, a part of my view, one of the elements of what I think, more to reflect what they told me, because what they said on this issue sounds better than what I thought until now, right? I think you don't need to be an expert to have an opinion on something. But I think you have to have humility. And I think that to be qualified to open your mouth on any topic, if it's cooking, if it's politics, if it's defense, psychology, I don't care what topic, we have to remember, and I'm saying this for myself, to remind myself, we have to remember to admit to the other person that we don't know everything. We don't know everything. So I could say to you, look, I don't know much about cooking, but I would imagine that if we're cooking a stew, we should add this much salt and not that much salt. Now, I know nothing about cooking, so that's an absurd example. That's why I gave it. Okay? I admitted I don't know, which part of the admission isn't just to be cute and politically correct and formal, but it's an invitation to myself that if you tell me something smarter than what I know now, I'll change my views to reflect your view. So I'll say, look, I don't know much about cooking, but I would imagine that if we're cooking a stew, we should use this much salt and not that much salt. I just admitted that you might know more than me about cooking, and you're my wife. And now you start telling me things about cooking stews because she knows more about that than me. And she says, for example, actually, Avi, when you cook a stew like this, it would be much better to have as little salt as possible. And the reason is because the flavor that we need here actually comes from the meat and from the chicken soup mix and from the whatever else that I put inside. So actually, we don't need that much salt. Okay? So we're having communication. I admit that I don't know everything, but I offer an opinion, but within a place of humility. And I'm willing to receive influence from somebody else. Then they tell me their opinion, and I'm still allowed to challenge it. I could still say, look, I still don't know anything about cooking. But how could you tell me that we don't need any salt? It doesn't make any sense. How will we make it taste salty if we don't put in salt? I can ask any question that I want because it's a conversation. And you can still explain it to me. And I still have to listen. And together through conversation, back and forth, I will reach a higher understanding, and maybe my wife will reach a higher understanding about something too. Okay? That's how we grow together and learn together. But what happens most of the time in this generation, with the advent of social media, is that we offer opinions without any humility, claiming as if we know everything. Now, none of us know everything. And within not knowing everything, there are some people that know a lot, but don't know everything. There are people that know a little bit, but don't know everything. And then there's people that know very, very little and don't know everything. So there's people and there's people. I'm in a certain WhatsApp group that shall go unnamed. I'm in a lot of WhatsApp groups, so you're not going to figure out which one. And there's a troublemaker in the group that the admins have a lot of problems with. And this person has an opinion on every topic under the sun, but not just an opinion, a definitive opinion. An opinion so strong and so all-knowing that no matter how much you know on that topic, you don't know anything compared to them, even though they don't know anything. To quote one of my rabbis who I trained under on how to think in heuristics, he once quoted one of his rabbis who quoted somebody named Reb Chaim Brisker, who once said about somebody else, I never met somebody who didn't know so much. Meaning sometimes he would say about a person, wow, you meet a professor, you meet a librarian, you meet some incredible person, and you say, wow, this scholar, I never met someone that knows so much. So Rabbi Chaim Brisker said about someone, I never met somebody who didn't know so much because they thought that they knew, and they didn't know, and they didn't know that they didn't know. So when we're having a conversation in a WhatsApp group about current affairs, or about policing strategies, about parenting, about anything, religious topics, I don't care what the topic is, okay? Offer your opinion, but only if you are coming to learn in the case that there's something you have to learn. Also come to teach if there's something that people need to learn, because you might have something that they need to learn. But it has to be that way. And it always has to be within a sense of humility. If there's no humility, you don't know, and you don't even know that you don't know, and you'll stay ignorant and you'll become dangerous. Okay? Why am I even saying this? Because on a Facebook page and in a WhatsApp group yesterday, I was shocked at the level of ignorance of two different troublemakers who are well-known troublemakers, each in their respective platforms. And there was a debate about something, whatever it was. And in that topic, I don't know everything, and I don't even know a lot, but I certainly know something. I also have academic knowledge on it. I also have extensive experiential knowledge on it. And I can lay it all out. I can give a class on those topics for 2 or 3 hours straight. So I must know something about it. It doesn't make me special. I'm not asking you to clap for me. I just mean to say that I'm not a complete ignoramus in that topic. I know something. I'm certainly not an expert. And I'm certainly not a complete ignoramus. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm very far from knowing everything about the topic, but I know that I know something, and I know a little bit of what I know. And I gave my opinion in that group. And in fact, I once made a video on that topic. And so I put the video down and I said, I made a video about this topic for anyone that would like to watch it. Because it's the type of group that they encourage that you share videos and media about different topics. So you're allowed to share your own video. So I shared my own video. And the troublemaker pops up. And troublemaker says, 5 seconds after my post, I didn't watch your video, but the answer is, and then they give an answer. And I'm just amazed. I'm amazed. I'm amazed that you're so quick to give an answer. And I checked into this person. They have no academic knowledge, no experiential knowledge, no anything knowledge. My father is a social worker. He told me that when he went to Columbia School of Social Work, there was a black woman from the inner city, the roughest parts of town, who was the wisest person in class. Because she walked into the social work class with 20 years, 30 years of seeing all sorts of social topics that social workers discuss. And she was deeply involved personally and on a communal level with her neighbors as a good person, helping out and witnessing and seeing and taking part of helping out people in her community. She had unbelievable, unmatched, unparalleled experiential knowledge, and she went to Columbia School of Social Work to match that and get academic knowledge. And can you imagine the type of social worker she must have been? I don't know her name. She must have been the best social worker that came out of there. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. That's a person that's entitled to an opinion. You ask them something, and it's about something that they studied and they deal with, they're entitled to an opinion, and we should listen very carefully to what people like that have to say. And even if she never went to Columbia, but she grew up in this neighborhood and was deeply involved in the culture and the issues and what goes on, we should be very respectful and very careful to hear what she says on many topics. Even if she has no degree after her name, she never went to university, I could care less. She for sure has tons of knowledge, experiential knowledge that's invaluable. But when you have somebody that has no experiential knowledge and no book knowledge, they have no knowledge. And they don't have knowledge that they don't have knowledge. And they won't even listen to your video and form an opinion. They'll just form an opinion because they feel that that's the opinion. It's intolerable. And that's what social media does. Social media gives everybody a platform to speak, which sounds good. Unless you don't know that you don't know about things and you're busy teaching people that don't know that you don't know. Because they're trusting you. Well, why are they trusting you? Because they're nice people. They're people that are quick to lend their trust. And they find your channel. They find your type of expertise. Well, are you an expert or are you not an expert? Or maybe you're not an expert, but you're in the middle. You have some knowledge about this. I could tell you I follow tons of people on social media. I comment on their videos. I enjoy watching. I'm there to learn. I follow tons of non-professionals because why wouldn't I? I follow people in different disciplines, whether it's business people, sports people, parenting people that their whole qualification is that they have a bunch of kids and parent them. There's a lot of wisdom out there. And all together, we can become wise from all of them if we take what they have to learn and we incorporate it into what we already know. But let's not write things and talk about things without that humility and without that admission. I'm not saying it has to be every time, but at least sometimes. And it has to be at least inferred from your words that you don't know everything. And maybe this is what you think. Okay? Unless you're truly a bona fide expert and you've done this many, many times and you've studied this and you've been there and you've done that, then, you're a busy person. I get it. You know what you know, and you really know, so we'll let you off the hook, right? In another group, there was somebody yesterday analyzing a security incident that happened in my neck of the woods. He writes a whole brilliant post. It can't be farther from reality, because he knew his opinion from a very particular angle, from a military angle, but not from a civilian angle. Just like any topic can be approached from different angles, like kids. How do we make kids into good people? You can approach it from a parenting perspective. You can approach it from a teaching perspective. You can approach it from a policing perspective. You can approach it from a gym teacher perspective, a sports coach perspective. There's so many people that deal with kids. And it's all of them together that educate kids. And they all have their perspective. So we have to remember that too. Man, let's think about who we follow. Let's think about what we say. And I'm making this video for myself as much as for everybody else. And I'm taking upon myself, bli neder, as they say in Hebrew, without promise, because we make promises because we commit, but we don't want to swear that we'll do something and not end up doing it because that would be dishonest. But as much as I can take seriously and take upon myself, I have to check myself and ask you to do this as well, whoever's watching, that when we give an opinion, it's with a dose of humility. Remembering there's people that know more than us, there's facts that we don't know, there's perspectives that we don't have. And you're allowed to offer an opinion, and you should. But make sure that you're also ready to receive influence. Make sure you're also ready to teach if somebody wants to learn. And together, this is how we'll get smart, this is how we'll get wise, we'll grow together, and we'll make the world a better place. Thanks for listening.